Well, friends, all at the very beginning of this Mass, I had the opportunity to welcome so many of you, but I want to both say a welcome and introduce you to a wonderful young man who has rejoined our community. 2 years ago, we were so blessed to receive three new seminarians from Vietnam who are studying for the Church of Pittsburgh. Over the course of the last 8 weeks, as you've been joining us for these online masses and prayers, you've had a chance to meet Locke, and you just had a chance to be able to catch a quick glimpse at Tong Lei, who is a member of our community and has rejoined us. And so, Tong, it's so good that you're with us, and that knowing that all of these people who are joining online have a chance to be able to meet you as well too. So God bless you. You know, I have a good buddy. We've been friends for 50 years. And his hobby is he loves to read. In his spare time, he reads. And he's also a very bright guy. And every so often, whenever we're talking about, one thing or another, he'll pull a bit of wisdom and we'll bring it right on the stage of our conversation. And one of those little bits of wisdom that he has shared with me on a number of occasions as we talk about what our hopes and desires are in life is a quote from Oscar Wilde. Maybe some of you are familiar with it. It's a statement that says, "There are two great tragedies in life: not getting what you want and getting what you want." And isn't there wisdom in that, huh? We've all been in that experience where we really want something, we get it, and then later on find out, boy, that was a bad mistake. And then there's other times when we really want something and we don't get it and lament and become down and out because we didn't get what we wanted. And yet in reality, Oscar Wilde was ever so right, because what causes the tragedy is that we rely solely on ourselves. As I was thinking about Oscar Wilde's quote, I remembered a story that I read a number of years ago. It's a story about a very poor family who lived in one of the southern states of our country. And the oldest boy, the boy was 8 years old, wanted nothing more than to have his own bicycle. And beginning on Halloween night and every morning and every evening, until Christmas, he prayed that he might get a bike. Christmas morning arrived, and as the family came downstairs, there were just small packages around the Christmas tree. It's all the family could afford. It was clear to the boy that he didn't get what he wanted, the bicycle for which he had prayed so hard. And the dad was very sensitive to the boy and said, "Son, I'm really sorry. I know that you prayed to God for the bike, but God didn't answer your prayer." And the young boy looked at his dad and said, "Oh, Dad, yes, he did. He gave me something much more important. He gave me the gift of his son." What a shift, huh? The focus in his own life was not what he wanted, the bicycle for which he prayed, but rather he focused on what it is that God could and did give him in the birth of Jesus. What prompted me to offer these two reflections with and for you today was the very opening prayer that we had at Holy Mass today. The collect, where we gather together all of those things that have distracted us up to this point, so we can start to focus on welcoming God into our own hearts. And if you listen carefully to the prayer, there was one sentence that I know I need to pray about, and I hope you do as well. And it was this portion of the prayer: constantly accomplish the Paschal mystery within us. Constantly accomplish the Paschal mystery within us. And sometimes, words can be a little bit confusing, so it's really important to know, what is the Paschal mystery? What do we mean when we talk about the Paschal mystery? And what we mean is this: it's the life, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and not just something that historically happened, and not simply Easter stories that we continue to tell in this holy season, but how the Paschal mystery is meant to be alive in you and in me. And clearly, the bottom line of what we need to think and pray about today is this: how does our celebration of Easter invite those elements of our lives that are dead to come to life? In a very real way, that condition exists with all of us, whether we want to openly admit it or not. There are things in our lives that are dead. There are things about us that need to come to life. And wasn't that ever so true, first of all, with the apostles? Jesus knew it, huh? The Last Supper, he's gathered together with the apostles. His own heart was heavy. He knew he was going to be betrayed, left flat by those people who were around the Last Supper table. And what did Jesus say? Don't let your hearts be troubled. Trust in God. Trust in me. Let what is dead within you come to life. And didn't we see that happening as we heard that first passage from the Acts of the Apostles? Maybe like some of us in these days when, we want to be very protective about making sure that we have enough food in our homes and that we're gathering together all the necessities of life. And sometimes when we do that, we forget about the needs of others. And that's what was happening in the early Christian community. The people who had wanted more, and the people who needed didn't have. And so the Spirit inspires the Christian community where there was a deadness, an insensitivity about the needs of others, to say we've got to pay attention to the widows and the children and those who are on the periphery of society and really take care of them. And once again, that prayer that we said today at Mass brought new life to them, constantly accomplish the Paschal mystery within us. And so it seems to me, my sisters and brothers, that if we're going to have a takeaway from this Holy Mass today, I invite you to say that short sentence over and over and over again today as you have some quiet time. But as you do so, make the starting point of that prayer a recognition of what in your life and what in mine is dead. Maybe a broken relationship. Somebody that we haven't talked to for a while. Perhaps a sense of revenge, wanting to get even with somebody who's done something to offend us. Perhaps it's a point of resentment against God himself, wondering why a job was lost or hope seemed to dim. Perhaps what's dead in us is an insensitivity, an inability to be able to tell people how much that we love them. Maybe there's even something within us that's holding on to something that our own moms may have done that we hold as a grudge. Whatever it is within us, it's so important for us, if we're going to be serious about Easter, to recognize that the Paschal mystery isn't just a matter of affirming what happened in the life of Jesus, his life, his death, his resurrection, but that what Jesus did on that first Easter morning really helped to bring to life everything in us. And so today, my sisters and brothers, imitating the beautiful example of that little boy in the southern part of our country, who knew full well that while he didn't get his bike, God had something more special in mind for him. He gave him the gift of his son. May we recognize that same gift. And if we're having a difficult time believing it, recognizing it, May we hear the words of Jesus spoken at the Last Supper to his apostles, but spoken today to us. Do not let your hearts be troubled. Have faith in God. Have faith in me. And with faith in our minds, on our hearts, and in our souls, as we said at the beginning of this Mass, and as we should say many times today, dear God, constantly accomplish the Paschal mystery within us.